Hi, this is the Omega team back at you with another Omega shows.
I'm Ava.
I'm Evan.
I'm Gabriel.
And I'm Angel. Mari is not here again.
She's in a basketball tournament.
Yeah, so
the biggest of luck to them.
Yeah, biggest of luck to them. You want to get into our topic?
Our topic today is the death penalty, because when we got into the topic last time, or not yesterday's episode, but a few days ago, we got into the topic of the death penalty and how also like life sentences are a little bit confusing. Like the whole law system is just a little bit confusing, especially if you've never like read up on it or like investigated it. But we were talking about how was it Ted Bundy who got 3 life sentences, and
it was someone.
Yeah, and both of y'all were like, "What? Like, what
we
is that?"
We didn't know how it worked.
Yeah, and it's like, it's true. Like, you can't bring somebody back to life and make them serve another sentence. And like, do you guys have an opinion on like multiple death sentences? Because obviously, it's not like realistic. Yeah, it's not realistic.
Multiple death sentences.
Or death penalty. No, yeah, death sentence.
Really, what I first thought of whenever they're like, you have like this many life sentences, I always thought like it was them and then like their kids.
Oh, really?
that would make.
Gee.
That's a little bit like over the edge.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever hear about the father that killed like his pregnant wife, and I think it was like another baby? Like he had 2 daughters, and his wife was pregnant, and he killed all of them.
I think so.
And I can't remember the name, but I was just looking it up this morning. I think he got like 2 death sentences. So like, we know he's not gonna come back to life. So like, what's the deal with that? Like, and even if it was like their children that would pass on, like, what if they didn't have any? Like, how would you solve that? You know?
I mean, you really can. I don't know. I guess like for that, I don't know anything about it. I haven't. This is the first time I ever talked about it. But I mean, just thinking, I don't know, I guess it kind of sounds like they're just like giving the people what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Like giving like multiple death sentences, like to, I guess like for the, like
just
the,
to really emphasize
like the people
how
be
bad
like,
they
oh,
were.
okay, like they're doing something about it, okay. Because if like they just give them one, they'll be like that, like that's it. Like I don't know, I guess people just want more. Because I mean, one life sentence is like, okay, well, I mean, they're gonna die like either in prison or like the death penalty. So I mean, I don't know, I don't think it's really necessary to give them multiple.
The death sentence isn't. The death sentence is like you're sentenced to death. So like, you're like gonna die in prison, and then the death penalty is like they're gonna like prosecute you.
Either way, their life is over.
Yeah, but they're different. You know, like different states have different like rules for it. I'm pretty sure Texas has a death penalty.
Texas is it the electric chair? I can't remember.
I think it is.
Why do you?
Or no, it's I think they put you to sleep.
Because
I thought it was lethal injection for Texas.
Yeah, I think it's lethal injection.
Okay.
Because I mean, every state has like different rules, but I guess it's because like they believe in different
There's
things. Like,
I think
like
a total of 4 to 7 states that don't have the death penalty.
Do you think that's right? That each state has like different set of rules?
I mean,
each state has different sets of. I don't want to cut you, but like each state has different sets of like laws. Like we all know the whole. We all know like every basic law, but like each states have like their own
like kind of punishments for it. Like we were looking this up the other day in my 8th period, and it's kind of weird, but we were seeing that if marrying your first cousin is illegal, and there was only like 5 or 6 states that it was illegal in, and
you can't do that.
And then even you can.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you can.
In Texas?
And then
because it's a southern state.
As long as you don't, in some states it was like, as long as you don't like fornicate, like it won't like you can date your cousin, you just can't marry them, and you just can't like have sexual relations, and then it won't be like illegal. But then there's some states that's like, if you as much as like hold your cousin's hand like in a romantic way, like you'll go to jail, like you'll get arrested. So like it's different laws for like all of them.
Do you think it's right for that? Because I mean, my thinking is like, I don't know, just like throwing it out there, like people can like just easily like move to the different states to like get under different set of rules, you know, and like they can
well, like here it's legal to marry your like third cousin, like in Texas. I think, so like if you wanted to marry your first cousin, like you could move to, let me think, I think it was Louisiana. So it's like Alabama doesn't allow it. Or no, Louisiana doesn't allow it. Alabama does. So like if you move to Alabama or like California, like you can. And like I know it's like, oh then I'll just move there. But it's the same with like abortions, like how it's allowed in some states and in some isn't. Like you can go to Colorado, get an abortion, and if you come back they can't prosecute you because you did it somewhere else. You know? So like I think it's kind of like, if you really like wanted to be like, oh I'm gonna go kill somebody, but I don't wanna get like the death penalty, you can go and like do it in one of the 7 states that's not allowed. But if you're still living in like Texas, whenever they're gonna bring you back, like unless you move to like a state, like let's say Florida doesn't have the death penalty. I don't know if they don't, but like let's say you move to Florida and then you commit a crime there, they'll prosecute you, but they can't give you the death penalty. Like they can't bring you back to Texas and do that. But if you live in Texas and you commit a crime in Florida, they can bring you back to Texas.
Do you think that's right?
I think that's fair.
Real quick, I wanted to say, so the life sentence, what did we say the life sentence was? The average was like 75 years?
Yeah, I think they give you like 90 though. Like,
yeah, because the life expectancy in the United States is around 74, 75, 84? Well, that's how long, so like, yeah, so like back to like the whole, is the life sentence thing like overkill, like giving a multiple, like no, like they should only give them one because again, our life expectancy is like only to like 8, it's between like 75 and 80.
like
But
I
you
think.
can live past the life expect.
I know you can.
I can't speak English.
Do you think like they should be given a second chance? Because I brought it up too. There was
If
this.
it's their first crime, I believe it should be half, at the most.
Because I remember I told you about the 16-year-old who I think she killed her own parents, and she was very like, I guess you could say smart about it. She had an older boyfriend. She was 16, and her boyfriend was like 19, and he had a brother. So they all 3 came together, killed her parents. She wasn't in on it. Like she didn't like leave her fingerprints, but they just like called the police and were like, hey, like my parents, they're beaten to death. And she went to prison for life. I think they gave her like 2 life sentences for each of the parents, like for to all 3 of them. So like, do you think she should have been given like a second chance? Because she's going to jail.
In my opinion, no, because if
It
that's
was
something
too
that
thought- it was too thought out.
if it's something that they like planned out,
Yeah.
no, she deserved what she got.
But also she could have lied about it, you know? Like they if those were the rules, you could have been like, no, like I didn't think about it, like maybe they were attacking me. And like there is ways to find that out, but maybe there's like inconclusive evidence.
Like to me, like a crime done in like the heat of the moment, like a petty theft, or like, and as bad as it sounds, like murder. But like if it's done like in like the heat of the moment, or like, then like yeah, it should be shortened because like
It's not as bad.
it's not
Is that
as
how you
like
view it?
it's not as bad, but like it's still bad.
It's
but,
so
like,
bad, yeah.
But like a murder, like when I say like murder, like a heat of the moment, it's like say like you're like someone
Like
breaks into a house,
accidental.
like yeah, like not accidental, kind of.
Oh,
Like-
where it's like, yeah, in the Second Amendment rights bear arms, like you can shoot whoever's on your property.
Yeah.
Like something like
Like,
that.
Gabriel, I think this was gonna be your example, where it's like someone breaks into your house and you like, I don't know, you like hit him in the head with a bat and then they fall, like,
Yeah.
they pass like away.
Like technically, that's in your self-defense.
Yeah, and that's like, that is a right. Like, if it was in self-defense, you can prove it was self-defense, and like the wounds and stuff, like prove it was self-defense. You don't. Sometimes, like most of the time, you don't go to jail. Sometimes, like it's kind of rare when you do go to jail because of like a accidental, like in your defense. Because a lot of people claim like when they kill somebody, they like, oh, and it's a huge thing right now in the UK, where couples will kill each other, and they'll be like, oh, it's accidental, like it was a sex game, and like it's like a huge thing right now, where like I've seen mostly men, like there's women involved, but I think it was like 37 out of like 50 are men, and it was like, oh, like they'll give the excuse that it was like a sex game, and like they would like choke them to death or like hit them in the head in some type of way, and then be like, no, like it was consensual, but now the victim can't say. So it's like you can't really prove, so they're like getting away with it. But it was like the family would be like, no, like she would say like, if you ever find me dead, like it's because they killed me, but because they claimed it was like a game, now they're like away with it. And it's like, I feel like all cases are different, you know, and like the death penalty on itself, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, they suffered during it. But, like, do you really want people to suffer? Like, I feel like prison can be enough.
What about that one case where, can't remember exactly what it was, but there's a girl who was involved in human trafficking, and she was trying to like get away, like she killed like the person who was like trying to like obtain her, and but
Kim Kardashian was on this case, yeah.
And like she ended up going to jail, didn't she? Like, but she was trying to get away. She was trying to defend herself, but sadly she was put away because she killed him.
Yeah, and the thing is that she consensually joined like the sex ring, but she was underage. Like she was, I think, 14 when I think her name was Antonia Brown. Or, that might not be, don't quote me on that.
I just remember
right?
I just remember you telling me.
Yeah, and she joined the ring consensually, but she wasn't the age of consent. And then when she wanted to get out, they wouldn't let her. So one day, she tried to get out, they got into an altercation, she killed the man that was holding her hostage, like in a hotel room, and she left, called the police, and they arrested her. And she was still like, I think she was under 18 when she was arrested. She was still a minor? Yeah, she was still a minor. So like,
but technically she should have been charged as a minor.
But she shouldn't have been charged at all if she was being held hostage, like,
yeah.
And prostitution is illegal. And being a minor,
that just adds on to it.
Yeah, like, you know, like someone was like if she was a minor prostituting by herself, like that's illegal. She should have been charged. But she was charged with murder and prostitution, but she was being held hostage to prostitute, and she killed the person holding her hostage, you know? Mm-hmm. So like, do you think she should have been charged like at all? I don't think so. Like personally, I think she did the right thing. Like imagine, let's say there's this case where what's her name? Dugard. Her last name is Dugard, and she was held hostage for like 9 years or something like that. She had 3 kids with her kidnapper. Let's say she killed him at some point, called the police and was like, hey, like, I'm this girl, like, I've been held hostage for like so many years, like, I'm in this house, blah, blah, blah. And they came and picked her up, and they charged her with murder after she was kidnapped for 9 years. Like, that's, you know, like, that would be wrong.
I don't know, like, there's just like a bunch of like set of rules, like everywhere, and then I never thought of it, they're all different, but when it comes down to it, like in an actual real life situation, you never know what's gonna happen. Like those set of rules are like out the window. Yeah. They can either follow them or like not follow them. Like there's just a lot of cases like that. Like I don't know. I just don't think everything that's going on is particularly fair for the citizens.
So do you agree with the death penalty? That's a really weird way to put it. But like, do you think it should be administered? Because like Devin said, I don't know if you said it on camera or not, but like only 1/3 or like only like 1/5 of the states doesn't have it. So like, do you think like it's a fair thing to do?
I think for the death, I think to me, It really depends on the crime. Like if it's really something terrible, put him down.
Let's like give the example of the Golden State Killer. He wasn't found until he was like 60 or like he was older. You know what I mean? He committed the crimes I think in his 20s. He wasn't found through DNA testing until he was like 60, 70. I'm pretty sure he was given a life sentence, but he only had like 20 more years to live. That's really mean, but it's the truth. So like, do you think he should have been administered like the death sentence, like the death penalty?
I mean, did he do any crimes within that span that he went missing? Are they known?
Do you know who the Golden State Killer is?
No, I don't.
It was a mass of murders and rape.
Yeah, death, to me that's a death. That stuff like that
did
is
he
a.
still do like any crimes within that time
He
span?
claims so, yeah.
Then
Okay.
yes,
He
death
claims to
penalty.
have over 50 victims.
Then yes, death penalty.
There's like 20 or 30 confirmed. So like when he got caught, I was like, oh, death penalty. But the way he got caught was DNA testing, right? Like DNA testing is huge right now. I mean, 23andMe, Ancestry.com. There's even testing to like find out like what wine fits your tongue better, you know, like your taste buds. So they DNA tested an example from that he left on a crime scene, and they followed it back to his family roots because somebody in his family took one of those tests, and they were like, okay, they figured out it wasn't his brother, it wasn't his dad, and it wasn't like his uncle or something like that. So they were like, okay, this must be the dude. And then they took out something from his trash can, outside trash can, and they tested it. So they think the reason he didn't get a death penalty was because the police didn't have a warrant, and they took something out of his trash can. And I don't think they had a warrant. They just like kind of took it because they were sure it was the dude.
Yeah.
So they didn't follow protocol. So the reason he wasn't euthanized was because they did that. But do you think it would have been the right thing, like to death penalty? Like
Personally, to me, yes.
Me too.
After him specifically stating that he's killed over 50 plus people,
yeah.
yes, he should have been given the death penalty. Like he should have just been put down for what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Like as cold as it sounds, like no, he deserved it.
And like there's this argument that like obviously we're just mere people, you know. If you believe in God, God kind of decides when people go and when people come. So like, should we even be allowed to do that? Like to administer a death penalty? Because like from a moral standview, like I get it. Like yeah, like we're just people. Like they decided when somebody else died, and that was cruel. That was a crime. So why should we decide when they died? You know. But then when you see it from like a criminal law standpoint, you're like, oh wait, like
to me, it's what
they killed somebody, so they deserve
sow.
it. You know.
Yeah. To me, it's you get what you get or reap what you sow.
Yeah, like you karma kind of. It's like I really believe it's like every case is different because it really is. Like I don't know. I think the death penalty should be used less. Like, you know, because I heard like it used to be like back in the day a lot. It was used a lot. Like for anything,
Like for the I forget what year it is, but like the witch trials.
Oh, the
Yes,
Salem witch
obviously.
trials. Oh god.
And then like during medieval times, like the pettiest crime or like the smallest crime could get you killed. And as history went on, like that was lessened, you know. But like to this day, I still like.
'Cause, yeah, that's when they enforced the cruel and unusual punishment.
Mhm. And like we were saying, like for every state is different. Like here we have like the lethal injection. California, I think it's the death chair.
Electric chair.
Electric.
Yeah, you have the death chair.
Death chair.
And then there's
I know there's states. I think there's a state that like gasses you.
Really?
there's like 3 states that use the gas chamber method.
Still, like to this day?
Mhm.
That's,
I think 12 does, no, not 12, like 6 of them do the firing squad.
what does that mean?
The firing squad where they just
they
have
line
you
up a
against the
row
wall.
of people and you're just shot to death.
Well, to me, that's more cruel. You know, it's like a little bit insensitive to use a gas chamber. You know, like we had.
There's 6 methods that the whole U.S. use for the death penalty.
Could you get them? Like, bring up
Like,
the
can you
6
bring it
methods?
up on the screen?
That's so cruel. Like, we had the Holocaust, right? Like that was seen as very insensitive. I mean, millions
What
of
do you
Jews
mean?
died. Like,
The
the 6 methods of
death penalties
Yeah.
in the U.S.
like if the gas method was used against the Jews, like I just feel like it's so insensitive to use them against prisoners, you know? I don't know, I feel like that's so wrong. That seems really
I
wrong.
mean, the gas, yes, it does suffocate, but not only that, it can melt the skin.
Really,
Mhm.
so scary.
I don't know, like on my viewpoint, like to me, like yeah, it's bad, but to me, it's like it always leads back to like what they did.
Yeah, it must have been really, really bad.
Like
to-
yeah, like it's like to be fair, like gassing someone like that is
extremely
terrible.
cruel.
Yeah, but like again, it should lead back to what they did. Like if they did something really bad, like again, and I have to
I
be saying
just
this a lot.
can't-
Like as bad as it sounds, like they deserved it.
I just can't think of something so bad that you have to gas somebody.
but yeah, like if you
It just seems like such
like
a,
that part is confusing. Like what could he have done?
what could you have done? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like every crime is bad, obviously, you know?
Mhm.
Even when you kill somebody, like, on self-defense, like, it's bad, but, like, you were defending yourself.
It is.
Sorry, I cannot get.
It's
Sorry.
lethal injection, gas chamber, electric chair, firing squad, hanging, and
And-
beheading.
So those are still used, like, do you
To this day.
And these are for serious crimes such as murder and rape.
Oh, okay, so asked of those in favor of the death penalty. So these are percentages of what you agree with. So 82% of people agree with the lethal injection, 60% of people agree with the gas chamber, 59% of people electric chair, 48% of people firing
Firing
squad, 41% of people hanging, and 27% of beheading.
To
But-
me, lethal injection
I don't.
seems like the most humane.
Yeah.
Like
Cause I just feel like, as like, beheading and hanging just seems so outdated, you know, like, I just feel like those are
Yeah,
so
but-
cruel.
Those two, this one's hanging. Yeah, I can't tell because maybe that's right here. Hanging
The blue
should
one.
be higher up
Or
than the
the-
gas chamber. The
this
gas
one.
chamber should be like second to the bottom.
Yeah, like, how do 60% of people, I'm not very sure how many people they asked, but, how do 60% of people agree that,
The gas chamber is
It's
way
like-
better than.
and then
one of the
and
best
then,
methods.
And then remember, these are for serious cases of
Yes.
rape and murder. At least if and as again, a lot of this is gonna sound bad, but if I had to like re-put these, lethal injection,
For sure would stay at the top.
yeah, electric chair, hanging, and then just cut that off. because-
I feel like, if you really look at it this way, then criminals like Ted Bundy and like, you know, like criminals that have been here for a long time, like, or very known, like the Ted Bundy, Cruz, what was his name?
Thank you.
Ted Cruz, like people like that should have gotten like worse methods, you know? But I think that's it. That's all
Yeah,
we
that
have.
wraps up our time. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Y'all have a safe weekend from me and the O-Megaa team.
We'll see you Monday.
Bye.